Welcome. What's up, everybody? We got a little bit of a late start there. Rekt Radio, episode 73. We're here without Mando today. We got WarDaddy joining us, though. Mando couldn't make it. I mean, that probably bodes well for our trading, if anything. He's lost money the last 4 weeks. But
did we make money last week? A little bit,
I think we
right?
made a couple grand. I think we did. Anyway, let's talk about our sponsor. What's up? Why don't you take that?
Yeah. Hey guys, welcome to Rekt Radio, episode 73. The show is sponsored by Rollbit, so please go and check out rollbit.com for everything crypto degenerate related. We're going to have 2 codes to give away on the show as usual. First code is Blast Off 2522. Blast Off 2522, and we'll have a second code to give away at the end of the show. I don't really see any comments. Do you see any comments today? You usually get all the like fucking code junkies in there, but
no comments currently. I don't know if that's a issue with Restream or if we fell off that hard. It could be either one. Not really sure. But why don't we get to these trades quick, and then we'll get into everything else that the show's got. Oh, yeah. There are comments. We actually just fell off, it seems. Yeah, let's get these trades, these Rollbit trades, so we can win people some money. WarDaddy, we're going to need a trade from you. Oh, and God. Then, what's up? I want you to short some stuff today. No Mando.
Short something.
Right, short some ETH.
Bro, I haven't even looked at the majors in I've been so obsessed with fantasy that I don't even know.
Monkey throwing darts can do better or just as well as us.
Can you guys see my screen?
Nope. Yeah.
Oh, here we go. Sweet. Mm-hmm. All right. All right. What are we shorting? Are we shorting?
Short some ETH.
ETH.
Down. You got to click the free trade up there, right? 2,000.
There we go.
Do that like 100x.
100x.
Yep. Run it.
I'm gonna go 200.
Oh my God, this is crazy.
Why is it not working?
Why can't I change this number?
Oh, that's because it's a code. Maybe it has to be lower leverage or something.
Yeah. Well, I would assume that I could put in
no, we wanted 2,000. Oh boy, technical difficulties. What's going on here? It won't even let you do 1x.
Is this because
Oh no! Did it say jurisdiction?
Does it say that?
I don't know. It may have. Well, not a good start for that.
Give me one. Should I just give me 1 sec? I might cut off briefly for no apparent reason. But my internet,
either way,
my internet may just cut out for a split second.
My internet looks bad today too. I don't know what's going on here. Anyway, welcome, WarDaddy. Happy to have you on the show. I mean, I don't know a ton about you, but OSF was saying that you're a FantasyTop guru.
Yeah, bro. It's been we've been paying a lot of attention to Blast in the recent weeks, so it's been a lot of fun.
Yeah, I mean, it seems like all the activity, the DGen activity, is finally moving to the DGen chain, i.e., Blast. We had the fun FantasyTop game. The Blast jackpot is pretty cool too.
No, I'm excited. I'm excited to riff on some of that stuff, dude, because it's at this point, I think we've seen a lot of people fading, which is going to bode well for the people that are farming it right now. But I'm sure we'll get into that at a deeper level here soon.
Yeah, for sure. Seth, how's it coming along, buddy?
Yeah, not great. I will try and side chat to the Rollbit guys, see if I can figure out why.
It wouldn't be a show without technical difficulties or errors. Yeah, I mean, that's the spirit of Rekt Radio.
As soon as I'm up, I'll share my screen and we'll put some shorts on.
Perfect. The shorts stay on. Anyway, let's get into some Blast stuff, OSF. Maybe you lead a couple of these questions in the comments, because I'm going to be in the background here trying to get some of this info out of you guys. Because
I'm curious. WarDaddy. I like calling you WarDaddy. It's kind of funny.
I love it.
I'm curious. How did you first? Blast has been all over the timeline for the last few days now. I think people are finally starting to wake up to it. But
right.
It's been around since you were able to bridge all the way back in November, I think. Yeah. So on paper it's been around for 6 months, but obviously it's been developed over time. So I'm curious, when did you first like stumble across Blast? Like, at what point in its life cycle, and what kind of like drew you to it?
Yeah, so I'll give you guys a little bit of brief background on kind of how I played like the initial couple months, and then go from there. Obviously, we saw Pac-Man absolutely destroy the blur drop and like everything like that. Like there was that was such a big drop out the get-go, and then so many people started farming it, right? We saw 7-figure, 8-figure airdrops, and I think that was all over the timeline for months, right? Like we saw you guys obviously had the epic trade, and that kind of kicked off a flywheel of people like dumping on other bidders and things like that. So that was interesting. And then when they announced the L2, I think a lot of people were kind of they didn't really understand the consequences of the L2. And I think like native yield is really interesting. I think bridging ETH mainnet assets over to Blast is definitely going to happen. We're already seeing it happen a little bit. But what happens when ETH NFT trading happens on an L2, when there's no gas fees, when some of these NFT finance structures could be put into play, NFT AMMs, getting yield off of your NFTs, I think is really interesting to me. And that's something that we can't really see on ETH mainnet because of gas prices. Basically when they announced that in November, I didn't want to lock up my stuff for 4 or 5 months. Like I didn't think that was a really good use of capital because I was pretty deep in the Solana and Base ecosystems at that point. So I stuck to my game plan over there, flipped a bunch of stuff, and then towards, I would say like the end of January was when I really started getting deep into kind of what was going on, like talking to a bunch of the different projects, and really kind of developing my own thesis, right? Whether it be NFTs on Blast or meme coins on Blast or whatever the case was. And then seeing like stuff like jackpot, fantasy, and those kind of things get like Blast allocations, and then the jackpot happening. And there's so many different incentivization structures that they're running now that didn't exist 3-4 months ago, right?
Yeah, I think it's pretty crazy how quickly things have moved. Like at the beginning, it was just like, oh, send all your ETH to like this multi-sig, and like no one really fucking knows, and it will have yield. But I think you sort of had like two types of people. It was like the first type was like, well, I kind of just trust Pac-Man to build this thing out and deliver something. And the second type was like, oh, I have no idea what the fuck's going on. This feels like a scam. I'm not going to touch it and lock my ETH up for a long time. But I guess like in January, they started to like, dApps were pretty quick to build on it. There's actually stuff you could interact with and use and do, which I think was pretty good. So talk to us about fantasy then. Like, you seem to be like the guy in fantasy, and I think a lot of people now who are playing maybe weren't on testnet or kind of new to the game. Like, I've definitely learned some things from messing around with it that I think I would definitely change for the next tournament. But like, when were you on testnet? Like, how did you even like get into it? And what's the alpha? What the strategies? How do we win?
Let's do it. So I'll go back to the beginning of this, right? So when I really got interested in Blast was when the Big Bang competition happened. So the Big Bang competition was announced, and like all of these different, whether it was a DEX, perp DEXs, spot DEXs, there's like NFT collections happening and SocialFi happening. And like, that was kind of when the light bulb happened, where I was like, okay, SocialFi, incentivization on an incentivized chain. We know that Pac-Man is not somebody that we should be fading. How is this all going to play out? And that's where the thesis started kind of being developed and chatting with the different teams. And I knew Travis from back in the NFT Fi days and just being deep in the NFT finance ecosystem. And so that was kind of the first project I really started messing with, right? And like, obviously I was going to different projects like the Telegram bots and things like that, but SocialFi and fantasy, kind of what they were building there, was really interesting to me for a few different reasons. Like, I'm bullish on SocialFi in general. Like, I think that we saw like a huge influx of volume, a huge influx of interest to Base because of Friendtech, and Friendtech was a shit product, like, in my opinion. Like, yes, it was cool and it was innovative in its own way, but it wasn't really something that I was like, okay, like, imagine if Taylor Swift had you know what I'm saying? Like, that wasn't ever something that was in my mind, just because it was so clinky and it just wasn't a good product to use. But this kind of innovation, this kind of iteration on SocialFi, allowing us to have this GambleFi aspect to it that I think is very unique and niche to crypto Twitter. And then also, this is where we spend all of our time, right? This is like a dApp built on top of Twitter, and we've never seen something like this. But this is where we've seen kind of some influx of Farcaster, right? And I'd be interested to see if we see like a Fantasy X Farcaster kind of thing, where like we do a Fantasy X Farcaster tournament, if that is something that ever happens. So like that, there's so many different ways that we can iterate on this and still keep like I don't know, like this niche feel within crypto where we all kind of have the knowledge of like, okay, I know OSF is epic for these trades. And then I know Farouk and I know these, like there's so many different ways that we can kind of go about building out a deck. So it was always just kind of interesting to me.
So the way that fantasy works for anyone who hasn't played it yet is it's like a trading card game kind of thing. And all the cards are based off these things called heroes, which are basically crypto Twitter. I'm gonna use the word
I was gonna say
I fucking hate the word influencer and KOL. So these were crypto Twitter personalities, and they each get a score based on like their last, certain defined number of days of activity, and it takes into factors such as number of views, number of followers that you have, probably some other things that we don't really know. We don't actually know what the algorithm is, and you pick your roster, and whoever gets the most points in that tournament wins. And there's like rewards on the line. So there's Blast Gold that's on the line. There's ETH that's on the line, I think. They'll distribute fan points and stars, which makes me think they're probably going to have a token at some stage as well.
Right.
And so that's how it works. So what's the best? I guess there's two types of people, right? You have the type of person who's going to come in and want to spend a shit ton of ETH, and the type of person who wants to come in and like, play it cheap and try and get like good value stuff. Like, what if you are one or the other? What would you say is the best strategy to like win at this game?
Right. So if you go back to my Twitter profile there, if you go back one post, it was a couple posts down. One more. Yeah. So this one right here, if you can click on that photo and then scroll down. So right here, you have 5 different leagues, right? So League 5 to League 1. Obviously, I'm a huge footy guy. Like I'm even rocking my Crawley Town jersey right now just because that was epic yesterday. But I think that if you pay attention to the different gamification that we can see here, right? We have promotion, relegation. League 5 is like the shitty players in the game, right? And they're going to be fighting to get promoted into League 4 and League 4 into League 3 and League 3 into League 2. I think we're going to see different rewards based on, and it even says it right there, the higher your league, the better the rewards. So you have kind of, your question was like, you have whales that are spending 40, 50 ETH on creating a deck. And then you have small retail traders that are flipping common cards for 0.2 ETH, right? And I think that there are a couple different strategies that we can kind of deploy here. One, like from day one, I was like, okay, I'm gonna build multiple decks. So I'm gonna have like a badass deck that is going to be like epics and legendaries where I can find them. And I think that people like the early alpha was building epics and legendaries of like, they're calling them floor fluencers, which I would be considered a floor fluencer, which was a shot at my ego. But then at the same time, you could also kind of flip these common cards, right? And now something we haven't seen yet, and we're just in the main tournament right now, but we're going to see concurrent tournaments happen at some time. So you have these whales that are deploying 40, 50 ETH on one deck, but they only have 5 or 6 cards. So like they won't be able to run concurrent tournaments. So we saw Travis talk about this a little bit yesterday where he was like, okay, deploying a sub competition. And this was before I got botted to shit. So like, I think that definitely threw some kinks in the plan, but basically they were going to run concurrent tournaments. What does that mean? You have the main tournament that had 200 to 22,000 blast gold as the prize pool. There's 50 ETH, 50,000 ETH. Could you fucking imagine?
Yeah.
Yeah. 50 ETH and then like fan points and blast or fantasy points and stuff like that. So there was different kind of reward structures here. Now, if they were to run like a concurrent tournament that was like a sub competition, what would that look like? It would probably be common onlys, maybe have like 20 like Twitter profiles under 20,000 followers, NFT, PFP only people. So like you wouldn't be able to play Greg, or you wouldn't be able to play Ansem. You wouldn't be able to play Mert. So there'd be certain people that were normally like at the high end of these common cards where we're seeing 5, 6, 80 sales, and they're trying to make it fair for everybody involved. So this is where like the strategy comes in. And we haven't really seen huge demand for some of these common cards yet. So I think that's gonna be the next iteration that we see if they can get the botting figured out and stuff like that.
Yeah, that makes sense. So it's kind of like open for everyone basically, because you're saying they may have categorized tournaments, so it's like common only or whatever other categories to like make it open for everyone. How for the leagues, I know like for the first Flash tournament, the rewards distribution was pretty like even. Like I think the most someone got was like 330 gold, and even someone who finished like 100th probably still got about 300 gold. So there wasn't like a massive win. And my fear about that was like, well, if you want people to have expensive cards and get these crazy prints high up, you're going to need to like actually reward the people who spent money on them and win the tournament. So is your expectation that like we may see more aggressive rewards for League One, where like the top 5 actually get paid out a bigger chunk of the reward pool?
So there's a couple things to touch on here. One, we have like the Blast Gold incentivization that was given from like Pac-Man and the Blast team to SocialFi. So District 1 got like 777,000 and Fantasy did as well. And the only project that had more gold than that was Thruster. So then you have Thruster getting $1 million, but like everybody uses Thruster because it's like the only dex that is really worth anything on Blast, right? So you have the Blast team kind of pushing SocialFi. What we saw on testnet was they had packs, and then you can also buy packs. And that is like an interesting thing that we're going to touch on here in a little bit, because I'm pretty excited to see how that plays out. And then we also have like these categorized tournaments. Now, I think as this kind of develops, we haven't seen a huge push of a new influx of users, because a lot of people are saying this is a whales game. It's not fair for everybody. And like I said earlier, like there's only people that are having like 5 to 6 cards and like that's their deck, right? I think the people that are getting the alpha right now and like the really taking advantage of this game is the people that are the people that are thinking about when we see concurrent tournaments. Now, as for rewards, I think these common only rewards, like the structure that they're going to use isn't going to be like super big Blast Gold rewards. Like it'd probably be a very flat distribution like we saw with the first Flash tournament. But as these tournaments as they kind of iterate on them, what happens when we start seeing like a 0.1 buy-in, a 0.1 ETH buy-in on like people that are in League One? So like you have like the whales of the whales, and then we're going to do a 0.1 ETH buy-in, and it's going to be like 5,000 people that all put in 0.1 ETH. And we see like the first person take home 3,000 Blast Gold. We see the second person take home, or whatever the case is, maybe 10,000 Blast Gold. And I don't know, there's so many different ways that we can see this kind of play out, especially if we start seeing 0.1 ETH buy-ins or 0.2 ETH buy-ins. Like, and then it becomes a spectator sport at that point. Like people aren't even playing. Like I don't know if I would probably put 2 ETH in for a tournament. I think that'd be pretty fun to see. But like, I think that the spectator aspect of it, if they get the bots figured out and if they can make scoring kind of more streamlined and people know exactly what the point of the game is, I think the spectator sport aspect of this would be pretty wild. Ooh.
Yeah, I got some feedback there. Yeah, I had a question. I mean, like, since I kind of haven't been paying attention too much, I mean, like, it's come up in chats with OSF and other people who are currently playing and are heroes and whatnot. Question about like what do you think the longevity and replayability is? Like after the first tournament, do you think people get burnt out from feeling like they have to engage so much? Do you think heroes will suddenly, feel like it's just not worth trying to come up with fake engagement, or not to say it's fake, but tailor their posts that way? I don't know, because I mean, a normal card game, there'd be like feature creep, and obviously that's not the case here. But can somebody just starting out like hop in and feel good about it? I guess that's 2 questions in one. But
well, first things first, I'll touch on like the heroes, right? So like in the 3 days of volume that we saw, and then the Fantasy distributed ETH rewards to people, like I got 6 ETH from that, which I didn't even put 6 ETH into my deck. So like, yes, I will keep playing. You know what I'm saying? Like, and it wasn't like I was doing like clickbaity engagement stuff. I was just posting like normal, and rather it incentivized me to post more because I was getting engagement out the ass. So I was like, dude, this is a huge opportunity for me as a small scale content creator. Like when Fantasy started, I had 7,500 followers, maybe 7,700. And now like actual followers, I have like 11,000. So like my followers have gone up through the roof, and like I'm seeing a lot of traction here. Is it like incentivized traction? Yeah, but I don't give a fuck. Like I'm like, dude, I'm gonna take this all day. You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna continue to grow and grow and grow and grow. And there's different kind of strategies we can deploy here. And there's things I'm already thinking about, like within like the NFT finance ecosystem, and how can I get utility to holders and things like that. But like, there's definitely ways that we can go about building on top of this. And I think what is interesting about fantasy in general is like, dude, all of us have personalities on Twitter. Like, a lot of us have. It's not that we're doing it because we have to do it. We're doing it because we like to do it. We like to chat shit. We like to do all of these things. And like, if I can dunk on somebody, I'm going to dunk on somebody. Like, that is just how it is. And we were seeing Twitter beef. We've seen Twitter beef for years. Like, that's not going to go anywhere right now. Is it incentivized? Yes. But now you have a whole army of people that have like 3,000 holders that are putting you into the deck, and they want to see what's going on. So it's like, it's a win for Twitter in the sense that they're getting more engagement, and it's a win for fantasy holders because they're like, people could put out like alpha educational content here. And if I, for instance, like my plan was today to put out like educational content on like how to upgrade cards or gameplay or even different projects that we're seeing across Blast. Like, if they're engaging with educational content, then people are winning. So I don't know. I think the flywheel here is pretty cool. Like, it's making people pay attention to the right people instead of giving like the spotlight to people that are kind of just posting stupid shit. I don't know. That's kind of how I've seen it, and that's how I want to take advantage of it.
Yeah. Would you buy a KBM fancy card?
You gonna put out some solid content?
That's a no.
Oh man, I've been out of the streets a bit. I'm not doing much in there. I don't think I would do well.
I actually bought 3 WarDaddy legendary cards right at the beginning, because my thing was like, I bought some expensive people, which I've actually probably lost money on, to be honest with you, and they haven't performed that well. Like, I own a Greg and CL207. They just haven't been tweeting, or their score's quite low for whatever reason, because maybe it's like a ratio of followers to views thing. But I was like, who's going to kick off in this thing? I was like, well, you were the only guy basically putting out any content on this. So I was like, fuck it. I'll just buy 3 of your legendary cards. And then I listed one at 6.9 ETH. It's kind of like a meme price.
Printed.
Yeah. And I came back and I was like, fuck. Like, I was like, where's my 3rd card gone? Like, surely someone hasn't bought it. And I went back and this guy bought it. And to be fair, the guy who bought it is now ranked number 1 in the current tournament. So he's going to
let's go.
Yeah. He's probably going to like get a fucking paid from, he'll probably make money on it as well. But yeah, like, even away from like winning the tournaments, there's obviously like money to be made just fucking trading these things. Like, if you find someone who is underrated, who's putting out good shit, and you buy them early, you can then just, trade them and make money. Like, I bet you there's tons of people who will just trade this without even entering the competitions, right?
Right. Well, and see, this is where it gets really interesting to me, because there are so many different strategies that we can deploy here. And one of them that I'm really kind of passionate about right now is like this common card kind of push. I bought a shit ton of commons, and like I was buying 25 commons to upgrade to an epic. So like I did that multiple times. And when I did that, I was like, okay, cool. Like, this is the alpha right now. I'm going to flip and flip and flip and flip. And then those cards, there's like a huge arbitrage opportunity there for a little bit of like people not understanding that they could just buy 25 commons off the floor. And like, there was like a 0.4 ETH spread on some of this stuff. And I was like, dude, this is like free money that you're printing. Now, I think I went a little too hard in that. Like, I only have rares and I only had rares and epics in my deck. And I was like, okay, but if they throw a common only competition, I'm going to be fucked. And so then I just started going ham on like the commons, but like top rank commons, and those were sitting around like 0.05 to 0.1 ETH. And so it was really easy to kind of build out a really solid deck for less than half an ETH, right? And so I think that we're going to see a supply crunch on some of these common cards because people don't necessarily understand the gamification yet. And then if you were to be on like the FantasyTop website and you were to look at buying packs, the system that they're using is called VRGDA, and it's the same system that they used on Art Gobblers, actually, the old NFT collection that was like a massive rug. But the reason, like, a lot of analysts, so like my background is in NFT, like I was an NFT analyst at Proof, and like I always did research papers and stuff like that. The reason why a lot of analysts were really excited about VRGDA is because it's this kind of opportunity for supply and demand to play a really interesting kind of mechanism for supply, to like the supply of new cards to come to market. So I think that we're going to see a lot of that play out when we start seeing like common tournaments and stuff pop up.
Just want a quick announcement. I think the audio on Twitter is pretty shit, but I think my cable is fucked, and I'm the only one who can stream it to Twitter. So, if you want better audio quality, just watch the stream on Twitter, the video stream on Twitter or on YouTube. But yeah, my
Twitter video, and
Twitter
YouTube.
video, or YouTube video. But Twitter Spaces, the audio is going to be a bit shit because I think I've just like mangled my cable basically. So
I was seeing comments come through, and I was like, "Bro, do I keep talking here? Do I?"
I've lost my train of thought.
Yeah, well, I'll take it real quick. Like the VRGDA, I think packs are going for, it was like 0.4 ETH yesterday.
0.4 yesterday.
Yeah.
Jeez. It's almost like a 2x from where they came, right? They were like,
well, no, they started at 0.1 packs, just packs.
God.
And so it started at 0.1, but like they're going to gradually rise and rise and rise because that's just how like the VRGDA works. And now if nobody's buying at 0.4, then like the price comes down to like 0.35. And then if there's demand, it goes back up, and it's following like a bonding curve. Basically, that's how it works. Right. And so they're following a curve, and like the prices of new packs are going to get more and more expensive just because like the gamblers are going to gamble on it. But now that we have only so many common cards that are on the marketplace, when we see a supply crunch on common cards, it's going to get really interesting because like some of these common cards are going to be going for rare and epic prices because there's no common cards left to buy. So I don't know. It's really interesting, the gamification here, and it definitely helps to have played testnet quite a bit because like we saw this happen on testnet.
The VRGDA thing is interesting. You know what would have been cool if you could just buy packs as NFTs and just like keep them unopened, flip them and stuff. That would have been pretty cool, I think.
It would have been, but it would have ruined like the VRGDA because people they wouldn't have ripped packs.
Yeah. So are the packs and the cards themselves actual NFTs? Like what they are?
Yeah.
But you can't you can only trade them on
they're not
fancy
tradable
platform.
Yeah. So like I don't know how they do it. I think all the off-chain information, so like all the data is off-chain. So like if you were to go to Blur right now, like you could see that there's like all the fantasy cards there, but you just can't see the metadata. So it's interesting. It's like I don't know how that's exactly going to play out. And I understand why they're doing it, right? Like the marketplace is seeing so much traction, and like there's fees and stuff, and people are paying it, and nobody gives a fuck because they're like, this is a new hot thing. But yeah, I don't know. One of the questions I have for you is like somebody that's on the outside, like I'm super pitted on this, right? But as somebody that has just started playing and wasn't very active, if active at all, on testnet, do you think that we're seeing a local top here just 4 days in? Or is this similar to the Friendtech run where people are like, dude, what the fuck is Friendtech? And like Kobe was sitting at like 1.3 ETH for a week. And then Kobe just went to like 10 ETH, 15 ETH, right? Like, are we seeing that? Or I don't know.
Before OSF answers, let me interject to say that this show is usually a local top.
Fuck.
But go ahead, OSF.
He's not wrong there. Usually it's the local top. So my thought on this was like I missed the initial Friendtech. I got into Friendtech like 2 weeks after it launched, or wherever it was, when everyone was already too expensive. Or maybe I saw Kobe at 1 ETH and I just didn't do anything. And then everything like really ran up a lot, right? And so I felt like for fantasy, and I started playing it like right from day one. And I spent a decent amount of ETH really, buying a few different cards. My thought was that it's early to this game, and it's similar to, it's not the same as Friendtech because it's a different like game, if you like. It's a different, you do different things. But I thought it's early enough such that if more and more people join this thing and if they do a good job at it, all these cards will go higher. Like the floor cards will go higher. And really the best trade was to just buy, some of these floor cards were like 0.001 ETH. And at one point the floor got to 0.1 ETH. So 0.01 ETH. So, there was like a 10x on just like very small money, but you could have bought a shit ton of cards, right? So I still do think, whatever, you'll have local tops and stuff. And I think you may get some, I think what will happen is you'll get sell-offs after tournaments finish because you can't list your card if you're playing it in your deck, right? So, for example, if I want to sell my Greg card, I can't sell it right now because it's in my deck. But as soon as the tournament's finished, I can go list it at a high price or low price or whatever I want to do. So I think like you'll see more. The best time to buy cards really is going to be after tournaments finish because that's when you'll have more supply. I do think if gold is once again evenly distributed, I think you'll have some whales just be like, you know what, fuck this, I'm out, and you'll have some more supply. But then I think once you have the leagues, and if the rewards are really good, I think you could see stuff go pretty high, especially as cards get rarer as well. Like, it's hard. Like once people like, so if you get 5 cards, it upgrades it to like the next tier, and there's 3 different tiers. So it naturally becomes deflationary basically. And so I think some of the rare cards that perform really well, if they're consistent, could be like pretty expensive because it ends up being like a fucking collector's thing. And yeah, there's 770k gold right now, which is a lot of gold, but the Blast, like, I don't want to use the word Ponzi, the Blast reward system will keep going even after TGE. And these guys are going to make a lot. They've already made a lot of proceeds up front. They're going to make a lot on royalties. And so there's going to be a lot of like money in the prize pool to give back, I think. So I think you'll have this period now where it's like, maybe it's a local top, maybe it's going to be flatlining or whatever. But I think once like the big tournaments start with the different leagues and stuff, and I think things could really kick off. At the same time, if let's say the top there's 222,000 gold in this tournament, and for anyone who doesn't know, like the estimates for gold prices range between, let's say, like $10 and $15. So I think if they rewarded, so for example, this prize pool right now is like north of $2 million. So if they rewarded the top 3 like 10 to 15,000 gold, which I think they could well do, that's when it's interesting because it's like, oh shit, like some of these guys got paid like 100k, 150k to like win this tournament, and that's when you'll get whales thinking, fuck, let me buy these like expensive cards, and then that's when I think it really gets going. But I'm just saying that because it benefits me. So
do you think that like this idea of like 0.1 ETH buy-ins, 0.5 ETH buy-ins, is that something that would be interesting to you if they could iterate on that? And like the reason I say that is, and the reason I don't believe that we're at a local top yet, is because Pac-Man's posting about his deck, right? Like we haven't seen him engage with dApps at this level right now. If we start seeing, and like that just makes me think like, okay, there's going to be an incentivization here that is more gold given to fantasy, because this has obviously been the most successful dApp that we've seen in the Blast ecosystem to this point. I think that they're going to get a huge stimmy. If they do get a huge stimmy, I think that the whales come in. And then if they do like a whales only tournament that like spectators can bet on or something like that, that also gets really interesting to me. So like, how can we as a spectator sit here and be like, I'm going to bet on this person, I'm going to bet on that person. Like, and that opens up a lot of different opportunities for not only retail spectators, but whales. And then everybody is winning here. Like, I don't know. There's just so much gamification that can happen that makes me so bullish on this, that I just don't see this just being like a flash in the pan. Like, yes, they got to figure out the botting stuff. Yes, they got to figure out different things. And like we heard this morning that they're going to be doing something about the botting. And like, obviously I was botted to shit. So like that, I'm definitely hoping that this happens, because I'm not going to show my own card here, but I'm going to show my own card. Like, I was the only person that had triple digit tweets and triple digit reach. So I feel like WarDaddy commons are pretty undervalued here, but
still got 2 more WarDaddy legendaries if anyone wants to hit me up.
Bro, all that volume, I'm here for the volume, bro. So
yeah,
let's see.
That's good. So as a hero, you get paid 1.5% of your volume, right? Of your volume, and then everyone got paid some of the primary proceeds as well. So, and some people are choosing to keep them, some people are choosing to distribute them to their card holders, but it really does pay to be a hero. Like you can actually just make money doing nothing basically other than tweeting, way more than you would make on Twitter. I like KBM like nodding his head. It's like, yeah, I can get involved in that.
No. Maybe someday. You never know.
I think it's made Twitter competitive, which is fun for me.
Yeah.
Like as an athlete, like I always struggled with posting on Twitter, because I was like, dude, this is all fucking bullshit. Like, I don't need to, I'll tell my friends what I'm thinking, and I don't need to go out there and be like, oh dude, like check this out. Like I just never really been like that. But then when it became like, all right, you can win something, I was like, now I just want to win. And like, obviously I'm a partner with Jen at Remit Reality, and like Jen and I are going back and forth and stuff like that. I think that becomes really interesting, like friendly competition. So we'll see what happens. Wait, this just came out?
What does it say? Preventing bots and Shortening the main competition. Oh, they're shortening the main competition.
Somebody
wow.
said it just ended.
Oh, fuck. So they've ended it. Oh, because of the botting. Shit.
Live on TV.
Damn.
Wow.
How does this change things?
That's pretty rogue. So I guess, so what you can do is if you have a big profile, you can pick yourself and then you can like time your tweets and stuff, like the big tweets that you want to have. So if anyone was like saving some big tweets for the end of the competition, I guess that's finished. But
I think that's fair in the sense that, like, I don't know, my hero score went to shit after I got botted, and I think that was going to happen a lot. Like, I know that Tom Schmidt got botted this morning. I think it was just Jen got botted this morning. So I think it was just going to become a shit show, and I think they're preventing further shit show.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But at the bottom, it said that they're going to be launching. So they're going to be launching the leagues. They're going to be launching sub competitions. Yeah, dude. See, this is where it gets interesting to me. If we have 4 concurrent tournaments and then we see a massive push towards like new cards coming on, or new cards coming from packs, what happens to the new pack price? A new pack price goes to what, 0.4 to 0.8? Like, are people going to spend 0.8 if there's no cards on the marketplace? Like, I don't know. Like, I wouldn't do that, but like, I don't know. It becomes an interesting thought experiment here.
Yeah. What I would say is it's really addictive. Like, I had a point where I was just like fucking ripping packs, doing random
packs
shit.
Are expensive, it looked like when I looked, weren't they?
I know. I think they're like 0.25.
Are they like, do you get as much value out of them as
No, like I didn't pull anything good out of any of the packs. So everything, it's like if you get no good cards and you spend 0.25 on a pack, you can instantly be down like 75%, basically. So it's really negative EV. But it's the game's addictive, I think. And if you spend all your time on fucking CT like I do, it's pretty good. The thing I don't like personally is like, if you're a hero and then you pick yourself, you feel like very compelled to like tweet a lot of shit. And then I think it makes, for me, I feel like it makes my tweets and the cadence of them feel not very organic. And for some people I know, it just like, you know, it will be great for them. Like they'll be just tweeting a shit ton, putting out some good stuff. But yeah, no, that was like kind of like how I felt really about that.
You just got to copy paste everyone's content and tweet it. There you go.
Yeah, that's the way to roll, huh?
I saw a lot of people doing that.
Yeah,
I think it definitely caters to like the small, hungrier people like myself, Jen, people like that are trying to build a name for themselves. Which I think that if we see a new, like a second gen of heroes, like I think perfect people for that would be like Dancing Eddie, Clemente, people like that are sitting around that like 15,000 to 25,000 follower range that get a lot of reach because they put out a lot of consistent content. Tyler D is another one of them. And then you get like these different segments, right? Like you have like the news people that are going to be consistently pushing out new stuff. And then like you have the ordinals people that are pushing out ordinal stuff. So like if you're bullish on ordinals, then you play a ordinals heavy lineup. If you're bullish on Solana for this week, like you go to the Solana meme coiners and stuff like that. That's where I think the strategy comes in. And like, I think a lot of people are like, I'm just going to pick Greg. And I'm like, yeah, okay. But like what ends up happening here is there's a lot of strategy to be had.
Yeah.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like that there's a bit more depth than maybe I thought from the beginning. So that's pretty cool. What would you say like the steps for somebody just starting out with like a low bankroll, like to find a little bit of success? Is just gambling on, you know, people like you're saying with lower followers and trying to catch cards like that, and like just being in tune with the engagement in that way? Or
yeah, like again, I think it goes to like more hungry people. Like if somebody's like really excited about like connecting with somebody, and like I have my own group chat where I have like 170 people in there, and like that's been like super fun to interact with people, and like my engagement's going through the roof because these guys are like shilling the fuck out of me, so that's fun. But like I think if you have somebody that is hungry and like I was looking at common prices this morning and they were pretty cheap, like obviously still more expensive than they were like 3 or 4 days ago, but they are still cheap for somebody that has say less than like half an ETH to deploy or something like that.
Damn, so you can see what league you're in now apparently on Fantasy. Turns out I'm in the 4th Division 4 out of 5. Feels pretty brutal.
What does that mean? Like as a player?
Yeah, I was ranked like 80th or 70th
And
out
you
of
got to
like
league up.
No, so
Okay.
so I think if I
Unless
remember
there's
correctly,
not-
they're not doing all 5 leagues from the get-go. Like I think the plan has been to push like basically we got promoted and like we're like each flash or each main tournament is you're going to get another promotion. So I don't know if that's the truth, but that is what I heard. So I think like we got promoted and that's that. So there is going to be
Right.
some higher. Let's see. Let me check mine. Yeah, because
So
I'm
that
in League 4
means
as well.
yeah, so that means there isn't a League One yet, basically, is what you're
Yeah,
saying.
like League
It's League
4
5
is
and
League.
4.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because like I got. See if I look at my past competitions. So yeah, I was in like the top 200. Wait. This is the Flash tournament. The last time I checked this morning, I was in like 58th place. It's like there's no way that like you would get 58th and not get promoted to the top block. You know what I'm saying?
So what else are you guys doing on Blast? I know I was doing a little bit of harvesting crops for a bit. I lost a lot of money. I wasn't very good at it. But what other kind of games are you guys playing? I mean, like, there's got to be more fun stuff. I know we had touched on the jackpot in the beginning. Obviously, it's not really like you're playing that, but that's kind of a fun incentivization that they've done. What else are you guys looking at?
There's a lot. I mean, something that I bought a lot of is this coin called Pac Moon. And the way that the jackpot works is they say that the tokens rather than NFTs have a higher chance of winning. And if you have good social metrics and a lot of holders and good distribution, you have like higher chances. So that actually won the first jackpot, which ended up being like a 30 to 50% like dividend on owning that token. Is like a big payout for people. And I think my guess is because it's probability based, that token will win more than once. And as the market cap of the token increases, the probability of winning increases. So it's kind of like you have this double effect of it going higher. So I think that's a really interesting play. Just if you're just lazy and you don't want to like do the farming stuff, I think this is a really good like beta to Blast. But there's actually tons of dApps you can use to like earn points. So there's this website called Kettle.finance, and you can trade watches on it basically. And it's kind of like blur farming. Like if you can get points from like bidding, listing, lending, trading watches. I don't really own any luxury watches. I own 6 of them on this website. I'm like, fuck. How do I sell these?
I think that like the blast farming in general and like to see like Kettle, I'm gonna try to find this real quick, but like Kettle got like a huge blast stimmy or blast gold stimmy, you know?
Yeah, like 207.
So these are real watches, OSF? Sorry, I missed that for a second.
Yeah, they're real watches, and if you buy one, you can either choose to like trade it, borrow against it, or you can get them delivered to you as well, or go pick them up. I think they're based in New York. So
you're starting a little watch collection over here on Blast.
Yeah, I mean, I have a watch collection that I hopefully can sell, I guess, because I don't really wear watches.
Love that.
Yeah.
I think Kettle will be a good farm, dude, because like how many people are actually buying watches over here? Kettle, and there's a couple low-key farms that I think people aren't really paying attention to, but Kettle is definitely one of those for me.
I like Kettle because it's kind of like Blur, like you're trading NFTs and stuff, but rather than NFTs, which will probably go to zero in most cases, the underlying is a real watch. So like, worst case scenario, you actually get like a real asset that is not worth zero, but just trading it around, you're actually farming points and stuff. So I liked that. I like District 1 quite a lot as well. District 1 is pretty sick. Have you spent any time in District 1?
Dude, I haven't gotten into it yet, and I feel like I'm like totally fading it. Like I got onto the site probably 3 or 4 times, and every single time I got in there, I was just like, dude, this is fucking overwhelming. Like this is heavy, dude. Like there's just so many. There's like pop up here and this, and then this and that. I was like, dude, then this is like a fucking like a chat room, but it's like kind of not. But you need to own this thing, and you could get in, but you don't. I was like, dude, what the fuck's going on here?
Yeah, it's pretty intense. It is good. Like it took me a whole day to use it and just like get my head around it. But it's kind of like Discord. Like the first time I used Discord, I was like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
Right,
So much
right.
shit. But it is really good, like for communities and stuff. And there's a lot of like good Blast Alpha in there. Like I'm on a couple of channels. You should hit up our channel, Pack Rekt. There's like a ton of good Blast farming Alpha in there as well. I feel like that's where you want to be if you're like trying to like farm Blast and stuff. Just being in these spaces and chat rooms and stuff.
So can you explain how it works? So like you have a chat room, and then like every day there's like spaces that go live, and like people. I don't.
Yeah,
really
let me
understand.
here. Let me share my screen. I'll show you. Just pull this up. So basically, it's kind of like Discord, but you have way more. Like it's pretty overwhelming.
So overwhelming.
But you have like there's a lot of dopamine stuff. So like here, along here, these are all the different channels you can be in spaces.
Okay.
So I'm in this one now, which is ours, and you have this thing called gems. So like every host and every channel is able to distribute gems to people who participate in the spaces, and those gems presumably will end up being like ways to blast gold, basically.
Got it.
And then you have this thing called like Prime, which shows you like the top spaces, and everyone can vote for them. Vote for them like every day, and I'm guessing like that governs how many gems you get to distribute. It governs how many how much gold you may get. If I just vote for these now, it'll show up like it shows up all these different spaces and stuff as well. They have this token called Ole, I guess, and then you can earn some of that token by participating in the space as well. So like every time, so you can buy shares in the spaces. So like every time someone buys a share, some of the token gets distributed. Everyone can like click to claim it, basically. So it's just like imagine being in Discord, but every action that you do can potentially earn a reward, and the person that owns the server is able to distribute those rewards. So you're kind of getting paid to like chat and Discord and stuff.
It's really so heavy, bro. That's heavy.
It's heavy, but it's really a grinder's game. Like if you want to try and make money on Blast with like 0, you could literally go on D1, sit in these chat rooms all day, and be active in them, and you'll get paid, and you'll end up making some money from it, like from putting in no money. So
right.
And D1 has the highest, also the joint highest Blast or second highest Blast distribution, right? It also has 770K. So
yeah. No, see that I'm all here for SocialFi and like connecting people and stuff like that, especially if we could financialize it. Like I think that's something that we haven't seen yet with fantasy, is like taking these cards and like putting a second layer on top of it, which I think happens sooner than we think, just because like how much traction there is. Aside from SocialFi, the only real things I'm paying attention to, I was early to Blastopians. Like I minted a bunch, and then I just kept buying a bunch. So that was like a solid play there. And then these meme coins, dude, like the fact that people aren't buying meme coins on Blast just doesn't make sense to me. Like it doesn't make sense to me. I'm like,
what's your top 3 coins on meme coins on Blast before we head out? We're gonna wrap it up in like a couple minutes here, but we gotta hear that.
Like obviously you have Pac Moon, so that was a solid play from the get go. Baja is something I bought on day 1, and I've just held that bag, and that bag is stacked, bro. So if Baja wins the jackpot, like I'm retiring. I think Andy is one that like I almost bought at like 700,000 market cap, and I just ended up not buying it because I looked at like the token distribution. I'm not flooding here. I just look at like, if you look at the top 8 holders, there's like 5%, 5%, 5%, 5%. It looks kind of weird. I don't know. It kind of reminds me of Brett on base. So that is just one that I ended up staying away from, and it just absolutely ripped. So maybe fade WarDaddy's call here. And then the other one would probably be Mia, just because it was like another day 1 token. So I think that Mia is down still, which I don't really understand. So maybe there's like some drama there that I don't know about, but I think that we're going to see like a huge influx of volume when we start seeing, and like people are still fading Blast jackpot. Like I don't understand that either. Like, I don't know, dude. It doesn't make sense to me.
It seems like Blast has a ton of incentives, and that people should definitely not be fading it. And I think we're going to see a lot of capital inflows there.
Yeah.
If we haven't already, just like you're saying. We're going to begin to wrap it up. I guess we didn't get those trades. So it's
no trades. I got one more question for you. What's your prediction. I'm going to say prediction rather than like estimate. Prediction on what the Blast FTV is going to be when it comes.
Oh, bro, it's tough because like FTV is a fucking meme, number one.
Yeah.
And I think that dude, like I definitely see it over 10 billion, like definitely. And I don't think that people really understand how big season 1 is going to be for people that are paying attention to it. And I know we had this conversation the other day of like putting a dollar value to Blast Gold. Like, I don't know if it necessarily works that way. Like, I think it will to a point. And like, just bear with me here. Like, say like it's $10 per gold or $15 for gold, but you've used 70 different dApps on Blast. And then you have like all 12x multipliers for Blast points. And like, you've been interacting with all this kind of stuff. You're going to tell me that Pac-Man is going to leave it up to the dApps to distribute gold and not up to Pac-Man to have the last say in this. So like maybe gold is at $10, but then we've had like, did you check all these 5x multipliers? And like, did you distribute this? And I don't know. Like, I just don't think it's as cookie cutter as everybody's making it out to be, because we've seen this guy. This dude is the fucking king of incentivization. And I don't think it's one to fade.
Yeah. That's fair. I think, I agree. I think everyone who uses Blast thinks that the FTV is going to be really high. People who haven't used it think it's going to be really low. But I think people who haven't used it don't realize this isn't just like, and people look at like but optimism and all that kind of stuff. I don't think this is the same as like all these other bog standard L2s, because like it's a fucking casino, like a degenerate casino, a ton of shit going on, and that's like the perfect genetic makeup for crypto. But
100%, definitely agree.
Should we ask the last question?
Yeah. Go ahead, Osef, and I'll give the next code so they can hear it. They didn't like your accent last time, apparently. That's what they're saying in the chat, at least. Like, we can't understand this shit. He said blast like blast. I don't know. Anyway.
We ask this to every guest. What's your best advice on how not to get wrecked? And it can be for Blast, or it can just be in general as well. Like whatever you want to go for.
Yeah. I would say, do you guys remember Rookie XBT?
Yeah.
So Rookie was a beast.
You say that as if he's dead or something.
Yeah, but like he doesn't post nearly as much as he used to. But he posted something that he said the number one rule of crypto is to survive. And like, how many times have you gotten wrecked? Like, how many times has something bad happened? Like, at Cryptopia fucking wrecked me. Like, I've lost my bag, like 95% of my bag 3 times. And like 2 of them were hacks that I could do nothing about. And so like the number one rule is to survive and just stay in the arena. And eventually you're early to something and it ends up working out. But that, and make connections, because like your network is super important. So that's really all I would say.
Love that. Would have to agree. Definitely surviving and keeping those bullets in the chamber, because there's always opportunities. As far as the trades, I don't know. We're gonna have to like double them up next week, guys. Sorry
we'll double them up when Mando's back.
We would have fucking lost anyway, because I shorted ETH at 3,000 and went to 30.15 while we're on the show. The last code is we are Rekt 2222. We are Rekt 2222. I'm just kidding. I
didn't understand that.
I rug them. It's actually we are Rekt 3934. Let's see who's listening. 3934. We are Rekt 3934. So they got double rug today. You with the accent, and then that's why you got to survive and be here.
Exactly.
Anyway, thanks for coming on, WarDaddy. Looks like I need to check this stuff out more. There's a little bit more depth than I thought, than on the surface. So good stuff, man. Thanks for sharing all the alpha with us. OSF, cheers. Have a good rest of your night, buddy. Yeah. Don't drink too much warm whiskey. I don't know, guys.
The mango cider today.
There you go. Show the crowd wanted to see that. By the way, you go.
Mango and raspberry.
He's drinking
cider.
Mango cider. Okay, perfect. They don't like me in the chat for that troll. All right, see you guys. Thanks so much.
All right,
cheers, man. Bye.
Ciao.